You're like, oh, let's get rid of this whole flirting business.
It
needs to be a service.
Yes. You can get cookies delivered to your door at 2 a.m. You should be able to also get an orgasm delivered. That's all I'm saying.
The future, Bridget. Somebody get on that. But now we're talking about the past. In 1963, President Kennedy's Beverly Hilton $1,000 a plate fundraiser was rescheduled for prom that was set to take place at the same time. That blows my mind. Like, Kennedy, sir, it's going to be a bunch of high schoolers here trying to pretend that they've got all these manners and social etiquette training. You're going to have to find somewhere else.
That's wild.
Isn't it? A little over a decade later, President Ford's daughter and had her high school prom at the White House, and this is the only time that's ever happened. One organizer later said of it, "I had to choose a band that didn't have any kind of drug charge. It was pretty hard."
I wonder who they got.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's 1963. God, I bet they all were smoking jazz cigarettes back then.
I bet it was quite difficult. Stephen King's Carrie came out in 1974. If you don't know what that's about, it's essentially, it culminates in prom gone wrong.
Yeah, so Carrie was a seminal film for me, especially seminal in my understanding of prom. And I think the fact that movie, so if you don't know the movie, basically the plot is Carrie is this outcast girl in her school. It's Sissy Spacek. She has this long, mousy hair that she reads as the troubled girl, we'll put it that way. And her mom is this religious fanatic who is basically abusing her. And she realizes that she has telekinetic power. She can move things with her mind by focusing on them. And her classmates, who are very cruel, play this prank on her where there's one classmate who is genuinely trying to be nice and that she has her boyfriend ask her to prom so that Carrie can feel accepted. But then these mean girls completely pervert that gesture. They rig the prom so that she wins prom queen, and then they pour pig's blood on her. Also, a young John Travolta is in it.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he's the like bad guy boyfriend.
Oh.
And so when this happens, Carrie loses her and kills everybody in the prom, and so she with her mind, and so she uses her mind to, start fires and flood the school and all of that. And by the end, everyone's dead. Mm-hmm. And it culminates. So there are two big things in that movie: her getting her period and prom. And I think for me, it bookends what is supposed to be these seminal things in a young girl's life. Getting your period, kind of starts this intense thing of becoming, quote unquote, becoming a woman. And then you end your high school career, your like girlhood career, for lack of a better word, with this big party, prom. And it's supposed to I think that movie really nicely encapsulates what we are supposed to. Young John Travolta is in it.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he's the like bad guy boyfriend.
Oh.
And so when this happens, Carrie loses her and kills everybody in the prom. And so she, with her mind, and so she uses her mind to, start fires and flood the school and all of that. And by the end, everyone's dead. Mm-hmm. And it culminates. So there are two big things in that movie: her getting her period and prom. And I think for me, it bookends what is supposed to be these seminal things in a young girl's life. Getting your period, kind of starts this intense thing of becoming, quote unquote, becoming a woman. And then you end your high school career, your like girlhood career, for lack of a better word, with this big party, prom. And it's supposed to I think that movie really nicely encapsulates what we are supposed to think of as your sort of big seminal moment of a young woman's life.
Yeah. I agree. And that's another movie we could do a whole Sminty 3000, MSTK 3000.
And the really bad but actually kind of good sequel, Carrie to the Rage.
Oh, I never saw Carrie to the Rage.
It's terrible, but actually kind of good.
Okay, cool. We'll add it to our list. The film came out in 1976. And kind of going off what you were saying, Bridget, I did read a lot of articles about how prom has become such this big thing now. And it's almost like marriage, where we've built it into there's too big of expectations and people are consistently left down. They're expecting way too much out of prom. And then it's like me when I go to the gym and the music's too quiet and everyone's just kind of sitting there sullenly. I'm not saying all proms are like that. Mine was particularly lame, but you get your expectations. It's even out in middle school, some people are already thinking about, oh, prom, it's this thing, it's this big event. And then it happens, and it's a kind of hopefully enjoyable, but it's probably not what you imagined.
Yeah, my memories of my prom was pretty good. The guy that I mentioned earlier with the bookworm knuckle tattoo was my then boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no expectation of asking or being asked. It was just we were going to go together because we are dating.
Mm-hmm.
We went with a big group of friends. We didn't get a limo. I drove my car there. The music actually was really good. They played. I'm dating myself, but you know how there's like a song that you think of as like your prom song?
Yeah.
Ours was One More Time by Daft